Hey Patriots, welcome back to the Progressive Playbook. I am your humble dealer, here to give you my insights on the health core as a whole. The health core is just the first in a set of 6 cores, or aspects of society, and it's all about improving the status of individuals. How do we help people be well? Because when we're unwell, we aren't able to perform very well in any other aspect of life. A recap of what we talked about so far with the health core. In the US, we have a broken healthcare system that leaves millions of Americans uninsured or underinsured, resulting in tens of thousands of deaths per year. And we're paying way more than other countries despite also having much worse outcomes. Even when you're insured, I bet everybody watching this knows of a health insurance horror story. My own strife with health insurance was when I ate my roommate Jorge's dusty tacos. I had one of them and I was like, this tastes weird, and then I proceeded to eat 12 of them. Your dealer's a bright guy. So I had Niagara Falls coming out of my butt, lost way too much water, hit my head on the bathroom counter. We called the ambulance, but because I didn't have my card physically on me, the paramedics didn't know what to do, so they didn't take me to the closest hospital, they took me somewhere much further away. The paramedics were real gents too. They couldn't find my vein to stick me with IV, so then they were like, you even lit, bro? And I was like, I'm dehydrated. So that ambulance ride plus IV plus a night at the hospital cost me about $1,000. Our system needs to change, so we looked at various flavors of healthcare around the world, and I proposed that a government-funded single-payer system is the best one for the US. It would cover everyone, save money, give people the most freedom on their doctor and their employer, is pro-business in that it reduces the burden of providing health insurance to their employees, and it will accelerate the paradigm shift towards screening and prevention, which is much cheaper and more effective than relying on treatment when illnesses get really bad. We dug deeper to ask how we can improve our prevention further. We talked about how food and drug companies can and will exploit all sorts of tricks to sell their products, get you hooked on them, and even pay people to spread misinformation. For that, they should be regulated for what and how they sell to the public, including things like labels, quantities, and sugar levels. Now we'll go even deeper to the core of the health core. We may be bombarded by advertising, but what causes us to have temptations and give in to them by reaching for, well, almost any product in the middle aisles of the grocery store? Why are we so influenced by corporate ads that sell us sugary cereal and snacks and sodas and things that aren't good for us in the long run? It's because we're looking for temporary relief or instant gratification. Some people get it through likes on social media, while others get it through eating. And I wouldn't blame you, I go through these cycles myself. Sometimes we want to treat ourselves after a hard week, and that's more controlled, but what happens when you're always stressed? When you have an overproduction and activation of the stress hormone cortisol, it says to your body to keep eating, I need more energy. And then your body stores that energy as fat. And chronic stress can also break down skeletal muscle, and muscle tissue tends to be a big energy burner in your body. High cortisol levels can affect your sleep, and exercise and sleep are supposed to be your natural tools to reduce stress, so you can see how these things quickly spiral. This sort of chronic stress has other disastrous effects too. Chronic stress can lead to chronic inflammation, and this is where your own immune system perceives stress all the time, so it's overactive all the time. Everything's a threat. So your immune cells release free radicals, which leads to oxidative stress that can perpetually destroy your body from the inside. Meanwhile, it's not sustainable for a person to be constantly aware of their stress condition, so they suppress the emotions that are warning them. Many times they don't have a choice. What happens when this goes on for too long? All sorts of chronic disease states like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, ALS, MS, that's a lot of sick and dying people, which poses a massive burden on the healthcare system. Now we'll go even deeper by asking, what are the things that keep people in this constant state of stress? So part of it is not having a sense of purpose or direction in life, and several people, especially those who may fancy themselves to be right-leaning, have experienced this for themselves, that working hard at your job or building a family and raising kids gives them enough purpose to get up every day and get at it. So I get why people might be inclined to say, stop whining, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. But this is only one aspect. I'll give you a personal example. During the pandemic, we had the ultimate sense of purpose in the biotech company I worked for. It was like we were superheroes being called on by the world to stop a global threat. Thousands of people were dying every day, and we were working up to 11 to 16-hour days, weekends, whatever it took to design and release these COVID detection tools out there. Not a whole lot of time to eat, sleep, exercise, or have much of a life. Constant state of stress. We were all so unhealthy during that time. At some point I realized I had enough, and I had to speak up and say, I can't do this anymore, my health is too important. We've almost reached the core here, but we'll go deeper one more time by asking, why don't people just shut up and do it? Unfortunately, some people don't properly answer this question. They chalk it up to intrinsic differences like, oh, this person's just inherently lazy or stupid. The truth is there are numerous other factors here. For one, not having health insurance can put people in a constant state of stress. The fear that they or their child may fall sick and they won't be able to pay for it. No one's getting a sense of purpose by paying off their medical bills or their student loan debt for that matter. And how can someone feel appreciated or a sense of purpose when they work full time and don't get paid a living wage to support themselves, let alone their family? And how can they even hope to start a family if their company doesn't offer paid family leave or if they can't afford a big enough home? How can people live healthily when poor infrastructure leads to unclean drinking water and sewage-based diseases, and when climate change is only accelerating those diseases and the FDA is too strapped to protect us from it? And how can we fight the urge to give up when we don't feel like our system is working for us, that our voices aren't heard, when we see how politicians are bought by greedy and selfish corporate donors and billionaires, especially those who send our kids to die in our wars and completely wreck entire countries so they can profit off the national resources?
So you believe we can go in and take the oil?
We should have taken the oil.
Medicare for All is a great first step for getting everyone health care. Its universality makes it a powerful statement that we're all in this together. But if we're serious about that statement, we also have to acknowledge all these other factors that play into why people lose that sense of purpose or will to live. Why people end up in that constant state of stress leading to chronic inflammation, leading to poor diet choices, poor sleep, less exercise, and eventually the bigger disease states that are really difficult to recover from. At the core of it all, what do humans want universally? To be well, to be appreciated, and to be accepted for their authentic selves. That's why we need this multifaceted approach to health beyond Medicare for All. I know I threw a lot at you, don't want to stress you out. It's okay. We're going to peel back the layers together. We're going to keep exploring the other cores one by one, and I'll keep showing you how these cores are all intertwined. But as we're leaving this core and moving on to the next one, the core of knowledge, I want to stop and ask you, how are you doing? Are you well? Remember, my first principle was that health is wealth. If you aren't well, it's really hard to do anything else. This channel is meant to be a positive spin on politics to showcase how we're all probably more aligned than you might think, and there's a real path to fixing the system if we're able to unite. But that doesn't erase all the horrible things going on. I'll tell you right now, I'm filming this while the US is cheerleading Israel as they bomb Gaza to oblivion. I'm intentionally avoiding that type of news. It's too much. It affects my mental health. It's okay to acknowledge that. We can't constantly be aware of all the issues plaguing the world. The best we can do is to make sure that we take care of ourselves first, and then continue to educate ourselves on the issues and decide where we stand. And that's why I haven't asked you to take any direct action yet. For now, we're just at the stage of getting real with our principles by educating ourselves on the issues. So take a breather, because that's where we're headed next. In the Knowledge Core, we'll talk about how the government can help us level up our skills and understanding of the world at any stage of our lives. If you've been liking these videos so far, I invite you to continue this journey with me to the Knowledge Core, and while you're at it, be sure to give me a hit of that LSB, like, subscribe, and bell, and I'll deal you the next one.